Hi, welcome to the Shepherd's Rest Doc Talk. This is episode 96A.
I'm Cam and this is Julie. This week's Torah portion, we're into a new book, starting Numbers, also which is called Bamidbar. I looked at last year's. I was really thorough. So I was like, well, that's a bummer. So thank you for joining us. No, I'm just kidding. So
Go watch last year's.
Yeah, and it is posted, and it is 47A, if you're interested.
It's posted on the Facebook.
Yes. So I thought that I would just we look at more of the idea of the census.
Okay.
I find that to be quite informative when you really kind of start running that through all of Scripture.
Okay.
Now we see in Exodus 30 verses 12 and 13 where Moshe is told, this is up at Mount Sinai, that when they take the census, they're going to do it with men 20 and above with the half shekel. This is what they're going to be bringing to the temple.
Right.
Or excuse me, tabernacle at that time, to help support the tabernacle. Now, I know we talked about this before, that I've read different things. One is that it was set to be a yearly contribution.
Okay.
And others say, no, it's just once they hit the 20. My issue with that is then it would say when you're 20, donate, not 20 and up. Though I do realize that this was the first time.
Okay.
I don't want to do that. But here's the thought process. If it is from 20 and up, and it is a yearly, and during the time of Yeshua, it was, because remember, they have to go and get the fish. Peter has to get the fish and get the 1 shekel for Peter and for Yeshua.
Right.
Because they're both over 20. Then literally, they would know, the priest would know what the census, the army census is for Israel every year. In 2 Samuel 24:1, we see where the Lord's displeasure burns against David,
right.
All right? And then he moves David to count the people as a census. Yet we know that you're not supposed to count people. You're not supposed to do it. These people are the Lord's people. He's the only one that needs to know the count, so he says when. If that has, like I said again, if that's with the temple or tabernacle, I hate to say tax, but I can't think of what else.
Yeah.
Donation, all right? Then we always have the spiritual aspect, the priests who are aware of the count.
Okay.
For the spiritual side.
The
physical side, the kingly side,
they don't need to know.
They don't need to know.
Gotcha.
All right? Unless the Lord says count. Here, this week, we have where the Lord's telling Moshe, who's acting as the spiritual and the physical,
right?
Okay, count them.
Gotcha.
All right? And he and Aaron count them. And, of course, they elicit the help of these top, each of the tribes' headmen,
right,
chiefs, to help them count. Okay. So where we see, like I said, in Samuel, we see that the Lord's encouraging him to do it, or moving him to do it. Okay, because again, David's heart isn't in the right place at this time.
Mm-hmm.
But we see in Chronicles, First Chronicles, that it talks about, and it says Hasatan convinced David to do it, which I love, because some people say, well, that's a discrepancy. But it's not really. If you understand the book of Job, we see where the Lord can move someone and allow Hasatan to be the driving force in doing it. Just all David did was open
almost
the
like
door, and the Lord said, well, yeah, because from the counting of the people and then from the judgment, which David chose the 3 days of execution or terrible things upon Israel, okay?
Right.
Came the result of the temple.
Yeah.
So here, kind of like it. Here you have terrible thing happening, okay, with the count, and then he buys the floor of the temple. Here in Numbers, the order of it is we have the counting, and then we have the tabernacle being, granted we've already had the tabernacle discussed, but I just love it that the book of Numbers is reversed in its order, because right now we're in the second month of the second year, and in a little bit we're going to move to the first month of the second year. So it's been put out of order. And we talked about that last week, how some of it so that you knew what players were involved when you go back to Exodus 40 and see that they're standing in front of the tabernacle, and then you go to Leviticus 10 and 16, and you see the events back at the tabernacle, that this is what's happening at that time. I also looked at, since census is counting, I thought, what are other things that are counted? we have the Omer, right?
Yeah.
We have the years for Jubilee.
Right.
We have the half shekels.
Uh-huh.
But it doesn't really talk about people.
The days
It'll
of the
say
week.
many. Yeah, days of the week. Oh, yeah. Months. Okay. We also have, well, I love this. The very first time we see the word count in the Torah is in Exodus 12:4, which is the Passover, right? And they're actually counting the participants. You can only, about 10 people to a lamb.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that was neat. That's the first place we see it. So we have people being counted there. We have the fruit of the trees being counted, right? On the third year, don't eat them. On the fourth year, you can. The Omer, like I said, the Jubilee count. And then we have the people, So I just thought that was kind of interesting, just in the Torah, not the whole Tanakh, but to look at things that were counted. Each of those things all are pointing to Messiah, pointing to the Lord, right? And are all very precious to him.
You know what I love about the first time you see it is the Passover lamb? Because until you partake in the Passover lamb, i.e. Yeshua, you're not counted as one of God's family.
Yes.
Like you're not even in the in the clan. You're not even in the family yet. And I love how it's 10 to a lamb, representing the 10 nations, because that is what Yeshua is, he brings in the nations.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
keep going.
Grab a hold of a tzitzit and come in. 10. So that would be, what are they grabbing? The lamb.
Yes.
They're grabbing the Passover lamb.
Yes.
We have to grab Messiah.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
And then it just makes me go, until the fullness of the Gentiles come in, because that's when that can start. Not necessarily that we're counting Gentiles, but but you're now counted among the children of Israel, and you can develop into your fullness.
Yes, you can mature. Yes. So let's talk about the counting part. So, really, there are thoughts that, it counts, and once that last Gentile comes in, it's done. But when we look at the census, okay, he is very specific. So that might make us go, oh, that counting is it, right? However, when we go to Revelation is another place that we see a type of census. I really, after just the first part of going through Numbers and looking at the way Numbers is broken down, I started to go, wait a minute, Revelation and Numbers in a way fit. I think they fit. Because we have this starting with the breaking down of Israel into tribes, right?
Right.
And then we have the whole. Well, in Revelation, we have them broken down into the churches. Mm-hmm. And then we have the whole of what's going on.
Right.
And anyway, there's just a lot of things that fit. So let's look at this 144,000. When you start to look at that, that's in chapter 7 of Revelation, you see the 144,000 are being selected. Okay, they're being pulled out. And then right after that, you now see there is a group so large it can't even be numbered.
Okay.
And that's who's in the heavenlies. So I'm like, wow, the specific job that they have to do, they're picked. Remember, the count of this census is for battle. They're being counted for war. That's why.
Right.
The 144,000 is in the time that, in a way, there's about to be battle.
Yeah.
Whether it's spiritual or physical.
They're being counted for war.
They're being counted for war. But everyone else you can't count them. There's so many. Well, think about all of Israel past the ones that they counted of age. Mm-hmm. There were so many, you just don't count them.
Right.
I mean, that's why we don't have a 2 or 3 million.
Yeah.
You didn't count them.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, in my head, it kind of falls. Yeah, it falls into line with it. Right. Because they're both there together. Mm-hmm. One has been pulled out of the greater for a specific job, just like here. We also see in Numbers 26, there is another count being done, another census.
Okay.
Same thing, broken down the same way, but that one is even more specific because if you take that one and you take Genesis 46 and put those together, you see the lineup.
Okay.
And again, bookends.
Okay.
You have them going into this process of going to come out to be a nation. Now they are done with that at the end of Numbers, and they're going to go into the land, right?
Right.
They do. These two are compared.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
What we have in the chapter 1 and 2 and 3, that breakdown is because they are being counted because the idea is they're about to go to Israel.
Go into land.
They're going to go into land. So let's get them ready. However, there's not that specific breakdown because the Lord knows they're not really going in.
Going into, right.
So each time they're counted before they go in. Okay, back to Revelation. This is the time of getting ready to go into the kingdom, right? Not in eternity, but go into the millennium. And there's these being counted to help fight. Yes.
In my Haftorah portion this week is Hosea 2. And Hosea 2 talks about how before he brings them back into the land the second time, he's taken them out into the wilderness. I'm going to speak to her kindly, and I'm going to woo her, and and then it's talking about the beasts of the field, and we'll talk about all those things, but there seems to be the same exact pattern that we're seeing right here.
Right, and again, it shows up in Revelation. In Numbers 153, it says, but let the Levites camp around the dwelling place of the witness so that there be no wrath on the congregation of the children of Israel, and the Levites shall guard the duty of the dwelling place and the witness. This is so telling because it really shows, again, if we keep the Torah the sinner, okay, and we take care of it, we,
do what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, do what we're supposed to do. Okay, yeah, Deuteronomy. Do what we're supposed to do, then there's no wrath. I mean, you think about that with Revelation, like you said earlier, Church of Philadelphia. With the Church of Philadelphia, they're kept, and that's the whole thing, is they're holding on, they're guarding, just like the Levites are doing. Now, when we see the two countings, we have the physical military being counted, but then with the Levites, that's the spiritual soldier being counted. And we literally have two soldiers working here. And I love that because we see Messiah in both roles as well.
Yes.
This makes me think about Ramban. He makes this comment. He says that for the census, which actually means the head, the lifting of the head, he says, if you're walking in Torah, then you lift your head. It's a reward. But if you're not walking in Torah, you basically lose your head. Okay. It's whether you're worthy of life or worthy of death.
Okay.
So either way, there's a count being done, which again makes me go to the end of Revelation. Okay, Revelation 20, where there is a count being done.
Yeah.
And is your head up or is your head down? I mean, worthy or not worthy. And it's all in the books. It's written in the books.
Doesn't it say in the Brit Hadashah, and I'm not sure if Yeshua said this or if Paul said this, that he says, pray that you're counted worthy?
And then it's to be rescued, or I don't remember the word.
Right. From the trial.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I did a little word study this weekend on that. In Revelation, where the Church of Philadelphia, it says, you will be kept from the hour of trial that's coming on the whole world. So I went back and I took that word trial and to see where I could see it all through the Brit Hadashah. And it's amazing how Yeshua, Paul, they all say, pray that you can escape.
Right.
Pray that you will be those who...
It's going to be that bad. And that is on the whole world.
Protected. Yes.
See, that's not the part, that's the wrath. And I kind of understand where the mid-tribbers get their idea.
Right.
Because that's when the wrath starts.
Because
just like here, you're protected. You don't want to have to go through it.
Right. Right.
So, it's interesting. I can see where a mid-trib gets it. Not saying there's not a mid-trib, pre-trib, post-trib, all three of them. It could be all three. I have no idea. There's so many ideas out there and so many scriptures. It's just got to line up. And again, I think it's going to be back when it happens. We'll go, oh, that's it. I don't think anybody's going to get it right before then. I think we can have the ideas. That's why if we will do, that's why he says do, right?
Yes.
Build your house on the rock because you do it.
Right.
It's not going to, you're going to be on firm
foundation. Then no matter what it looks like, you will be in the protected group.
Right. You'll be counted with your head up.
Yes. Got it.
Okay, let's jump in and look at more of the breakdown of the tribes.
Okay.
The way we have in Numbers 1 is just going through all of the tribes. Then we get into Numbers 2, and now we have it broken down into groups, right? They're going to be camps. The order of the two chapters are different.
Okay.
If you will take the meaning of each name and put them in a sentence, it's very revealing. I love it. I don't have time to do it here, but it's just a good word study if you like challenges. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, we see where when we go in chapter 2, into the different sections, there's going to be a flag, an ensign, or a banner for each camp. That banner that has the 3 camps under it has the same colors of all 3. Now, each tribe has their own ensign flag, okay?
Okay.
But the one that has all 3 on them, that one has all 3 colors that are with the tribes themselves. The sages say that one of the reasons why each of the camp flags had all 3 colors was so that from any place that you are, okay, you could see and identify with your color. Each of the colors are said to line up or correspond with the breastplate.
Okay.
So, their color is the same before the Lord and before man. I like that idea.
Yeah.
So each of the camps, as they're arranged around the tabernacle, as we discussed last year, have an aspect of the cherubim's face, right? We have the lion, the man, the ox, and the eagle, or some say serpent. So, but there's also the sages, the Kamash talks about it. They also have sayings, like they say from the south is the blessing of dew and rain, and from the west comes extreme weather. So the three tribes have to, this is interesting, the three tribes have to be well experienced in roughness in order to survive it. I thought that was interesting because that's all of Rachel's children, okay?
Yes.
Then
and the west,
Yes. Yeah. Oh.
The west.
The west. All right. So the north, Dan, is considered to be darkness and hidden. I love this because the two tribes have to do with light. We have Asher and Naphtali. Asher is olive oil.
Okay.
And Naphtali is the one who, if you think about it, is the Galilee. That Yeshua says about the light
will come from you.
Yes, the light will come from you. So Messiah, so we have the olive oil with the menorah, and then we have Messiah who comes. And I just...
in the midst of darkness.
Yes. And Dan is not counted as the fourth group. It's the first, the second, the third, and the last.
Okay.
So that makes me go, right, because it's not the fourth, it's the last generation, the last of times.
You mean like...
so when they move out...
Okay.
Judah goes for Camp of Judah.
So the Camp Judah's in is first, and then they go to the
Reuben,
south.
Yeah, then they go south.
And then west.
And then Levites all go with their stuff.
Okay.
And then the west.
Okay.
And then
the
Dan. Dan's the rear guard.
Okay.
He literally is the back end.
Okay.
And so I just love this, that while there's darkness in Dan, he's paired with the two that are going to allow that camp to actually shine in the end.
Yes, I mean, think about it now. We have darkness covering the earth.
Yes.
Spiritual darkness covering the earth. But we've got the menorah and Yeshua. We got the Word made flesh and the Torah.
So we have the menorah for the first before Messiah. Then we have Naphtali for Messiah, that light after.
Yes, working
both
together.
Both are burning in the darkness. They have to work together in the darkness, just like
One
you
new
said.
man. One new man.
Yeah. So that's all we have for today. We thank you so much for joining us. We will see you on the flip side with Julie and the prophets. Shalom! Well, it wins the reward for the award.
The loudest. You win. Hands down. You win.
Competition's over. Don't even try.
10. Here's my 10.
10.
10.10. 10.9.
That would be 11.
10.10.
Which you do have an 11 in there. So I just find it interesting when you look at when the census have been taken, you're going to see that unless God calls for it, it doesn't have a good outcome.
Right.
What's wrong with my brain?
I don't know.
Jeez.
It does have a good income. Because you're taking the shekel.
Adna?
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.